What's good, y'all? Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Thank you for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. As always, if you could, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button. Make sure you stay up to date with all of my Teachable Tuesdays content. And speaking of teaching, this episode of Summer on Smash is going to be dedicated to all my fellow educators out there. In fact, I'm going to be doing two videos about but towards my educators. So if you are an educator or you know somebody's an educator, please make sure you stay tuned to the end. I'm going to give you some tips on how you can effectively maximize the financial stability of your summer. Now, why am I specifically talking about the summer? Because let's be real, statistically shown, and also not even just based on facts, but also opinions too. So it's pretty strong on both sides of the angle, right? Teachers struggle the most during the summertime. Why is that? It's because, well, we don't have a job during the summer, technically, unless you pick up a job somewhere else. Now, for me, I've had a job for the summer for the past couple of years. I've always worked Boys and Girls Club, and then there were a few years that I did summer school, and I was able to, thank goodness, have some income provided, as a supplement, or even if it wasn't a full-on supplement, it was a little something to help me get through the summer. But I got a few tips to help you guys out. I'm not a financial guru. In fact, I am far from it. I am actually in a financial reset, and I have definitely made a lot of bad choices and mistakes, which I'll talk about in another video. But nonetheless, here are 3 things that will help you maximize your finances during the summer if you're a teacher. Number 1, if you have some form of a deferment program, right? Not every state has this, but I know in Florida we have this. Then I would suggest that you use it and maximize it to the best of your ability, right? Here's what I mean by that. If you don't know what deferment is, it's basically when they take a certain amount out per check and they give you one large sum throughout the summer, or really not throughout the summer, but at the start of the summer, right? Now, not every state does this. In fact, there are some states where you can opt to get paid all year long, depending on which program you enroll. I would do that as well if that is an option, so that way you can get paid during the summer. But realistically, most of the time in most states in the U.S., teachers get paid off of a 10-month salary. So with that being said, if you have an option to where you can get paid over the summer, rather it's just one large sum and they take a certain amount per check, or just continuously getting paid throughout the summer, maybe they take a little bit out here and there, do that, right? I know some people are like, well, I'm not going to do that because I feel like I'm a good steward of my money. And I mean, if you are, cool. But, for those of us who are not, or who are working on it, that might be a good idea, because you could get a large sum depending on how much you make of about, at minimum, at least a good $6,000, maybe even $7,000. And that could be enough to, if not get you through the summer, at least sustain you, through to some degree, right? That's number 1. Number 2, in addition to that, and I know as teachers, we don't get paid as much as we should. I get it, especially in Florida. Woo. When I looked up the statistics on compared to other states, we're going to do a video about that real soon. But anyways, try to put a little bit to the side throughout the school year, right? Even if you can only put $25 aside per paycheck, that does add up. Because if you think about it, you're getting at least about 22 or 23 paychecks throughout the school year, somewhere within that amount, depending on when you start school, when you end school, all that good stuff, right? So you do the multiplication, you do 25 times, let's say 10 alone, 10 paychecks, that's extra $250. That don't seem like much, but then you double that. That's the extra $500, right? Add 2 more paychecks on top of that, that's $550. I know that don't seem like it's a lot. It's not really a lot in the grand scheme of things, but hey, that could be a bill or 2 for the summer. You know what I'm saying? So try to put a little bit to the side in your savings, because that's really, really important. And really, for any job, you should be doing that for any job, but especially, as a teacher, because again, you want to make sure you maximize your funds for the summer. And even when you get that, if you have that option of getting paid during the summer and whatnot, you also want to make sure that you're not using all of that money. I mean, I guess if you do, and maybe you're just figure some things out, you just got some debts to pay off or whatever, cool, knock them things out, right? But, after it's all said and done, you want to try to have at least a little bit left over. And number 3, this is just my personal advice. This is something that I'm realizing over the years has really helped me. That vacation that you want to go on, maybe try to save it for the summer. Maybe save it for the summer. And the reason being is because vacations take a lot of planning. They take a lot of strategy in terms of how to maximize the use of that vacation. And I'm not saying that just because you enjoy yourself more during the summer, although that is definitely a fact. But also, you don't want to take away time from, the school year. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made in my years of teaching was taking a vacation, which was recent, last November when I went to a skating event in California, which, don't get me wrong, I don't regret going. I'm glad I went. It was a great experience. I had an awesome time. That is something that I will never do again. Or if I do go, it will be a weekend thing. I will literally go up Friday and I will come back Sunday or Monday morning, and that'll be that. I ain't spending a whole week in California throughout the school year. And then on top of that, the unfortunate circumstance that I faced was I got sick coming back. So I actually missed 7 days, actually 8 days, I'm sorry, of me being in the classroom, which that sucks. You know what I'm saying? That's not good for me, and that's not good for the students I teach, because, after 8 days, they start to get lackadaisical. I had to get them back in shape. As soon as I came back, I'm like, y'all getting too lazy, time to get back to it. But all jokes aside, in addition to that, you want to save as much money as possible, right? And if you could plan that trip for the summer, if at all possible, maybe try to do that now. I know, sometimes when it comes to family, you kind of just got to work things out for a certain way, or maybe save it for winter break. Maybe even do winter break. I would accept winter break, but if it's not during winter break or not during the summer, don't take that vacation if you can help it. Again, it'll save yourself a bit of money, and then you have time to plan. So, like, for example, I am, for the first time ever, I'm going to be traveling overseas next summer, Lord willing. I'm going to be taking a trip to London. Finally, it's been years that I've been putting this off, and I've been talking to my best friend, and he's like, man, I got to get you over there. We got to get over there as a group and this and that. And yeah, finally making it happen. But guess what? As the recording of this video, it's July. We're not planning on making this trip until June of next year. So I got a whole year almost, a little less than that, but close enough to prepare, right? So yeah, just keep those things in consideration, all right? And hopefully this helps you guys out, so that way, when you go through the summer, you're not struggling. I'll give you a bonus one too. Pick up a summer job if you like. You know what I'm saying? I know everybody's not necessarily able. I know teacher burnout is a real thing. In fact, to be honest with you, if I have my way, I won't be working as much next summer. I'm still going to be working, but not working as much. But pick up a job, even if you only work 2 or 3 days a week. You never know, that extra income, in addition to what you're getting from, if you enrolled in the deferment program or something similar to that, that might let you off real good. Because if you think about it, the goal is not just to survive the summer. It's also to make sure you have a good starting point when you get back to school. A lot of teachers, either they barely make it through the summer because their finances are tapped out. Like, I know that's definitely me right now. Or they barely make it through the summer and they starting from zero. The goal, when you want to talk about financial investments and things of that sort of nature, and this goes for anybody, teachers, non-teachers alike, you never want to start from zero or below zero. You always want to start ahead of the game. So even if you start from 10, that's better than starting from flat out. Because if you start flat out, it's kind of like, yeah, you're breaking even. That's better than less than. But what are you gaining? The whole purpose of financial freedom is to make sure you're continuously gaining. And that's something that I have to kind of teach myself and remind myself as I'm, playing catch up right now. And I'm kind of having that in my mind for next year. Like, all right, this time around next year, I want to make sure I'm in a position where I'm gaining. Because I know me right now, I'm in the negatives. I ain't starting on no even playing field. I'm starting behind the 8 ball, but I'm doing what needs to be done. So that way next year I'm in a better state. Hey, look, I know some of y'all like, Dad, Marcus, you just exposing yourself. Yes, it's Teachable Tuesdays. If I'm going to be honest with you, I also got to be honest about myself. So hopefully this helps. It's Marcus Frazier from Teachable Tuesdays, here to motivate you, encourage you, and inspire you to be a better you. Love you guys. Hope y'all have a great day. Got another Summer on Smash Teachers Edition coming out tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned. Even if you're not an educator, feel free to share this video for somebody that you may know. Peace.